folks, I'm excited to tell you about my new sponsor, Black Bull Markets. They are based here in New Zealand, and they're a New Zealand regulated broker who offers up to 500 to 1 leverage and over 26,000 tradable instruments. You can trade Forex, shares, commodities, indices, crypto, and they're an award-winning brokerage firm here in Asia Pacific with dedicated 24/7 client support and no minimum deposit. To trade with Black Bull Markets today, click the link in the description below or in the card above.
We're in. How's everyone doing? I want to see the comments. We're here for another live session. Hopefully try and catch some trades today. But it depends on how the New York session plays out. Right, let me start sharing my screen. And let's see what we're looking at. Whew. So, let me have a look here. The only thing about the chat is, yeah, I've got it up on my phone as well, just so I can actually see what's going on. Morning, everyone. So basically, New York session, I'm probably going to be on for around an hour. I haven't actually looked at the markets today. This is obviously from yesterday, as you can see on gold, that I did take a trade, or was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday morning, probably about 1 a.m. I think I took this. Obviously, I was trading quite late yesterday. I have got a funded account, which I do trade with E8. E8, obviously, if you know who E8 are, then yeah. But obviously, we took one win, and then obviously we took a loss because I did expect gold to push down maybe into obviously this area where retail stops are at. But what's everyone saying? Hope today becomes very profitable for us. It should do, my friend. It should do. What's everyone's strategy? What does everyone do? How does everyone trade? Let me know in the chat. So for today, I'm going to be looking at gold, GU, and I think this is currently, I did actually take myself out of this before it did this drop yesterday. So I entered on this candle here after it pushed up, expecting it to come down. But after not being able to manage it, because I was out, I did actually take myself out here for, I think it was not even, I think it was a stupid amount. I think I got taken out for about £50. So yeah, I did take myself out of it. But as you can see, it did drop. But you win some, you lose some. But yeah, today I'm going to be looking at EURUSD and GU and gold. These are my three main ones I'm going to be looking at this afternoon. The main one for me is obviously EU, because as you can see, we've had this push down. We've got this sort of correction that most people will call a correction. Right now, retail traders, if you do trade retail, let me know. But there seems to be a few people in here, supply and demand. Yeah, so obviously what I look for is to take retail out of the market before the actual move happens. So basically, this is what I'll be looking for. So I won't give it fully away what I actually trade, because obviously that's a stupid thing to do. But getting there is, to me, most retail traders right now are going to be looking for shorts, right? So what I want to see is most retail traders are say they've waited for the push, they're looking for the exhaustion, they're looking to continue down now. So obviously, retail traders' targets are going to be this low to my left here, or even this low to my left, even further down here. So this is what I would say retail are looking for, right? So if retail are looking for this, this is sort of what sort of entry they'd be looking for. Their stop loss might be a bit wider. It could be just after the break here. So these wicks here, just above these. So if price does come back up, wick, and then they're still in. So in my opinion, when I did first start trading, I was trading obviously retail, and that's how retailers trade. I'd be looking for basically retail to enter here, which they have done already, I would say. But what I'm looking for now is obviously retail to be induced, which means basically the market to drop a little bit, which it did on this wick here, and induce more sellers. So it builds up more people in the market. For then, what I would go for is to take out retail stops. So what I'll do is I normally wait for certain confluences that I'd be looking for. I'd have my stop loss probably just below here, and what I would look for is to target out retail traders. So this would be my sort of trade that I'd look for. So I'd have a tight stop. Obviously 1 to 3 is normally what I go for, but it depends on how the market moves. But this afternoon, I'm hoping in New York session is to catch this, is to expect this to induce more sellers down into here. I do sometimes put on obviously sell limits, but it just depends on if I can manage the trade or what I'm doing with my day. But yeah, I do tend to put sell limits on. So basically what I'll be looking for is price to now move in like some sort of arch to push down into here, induce sellers, get all these retail sellers in, their stop losses are up here. And what does the market want to do? It wants to take out retail stops. So as you can see here, so basically what happened here is we've had this double bottom, push up, another push up. So basically these sellers here have been taken out by this push up. So what I expected is before the market makes its actual move that it wants to make, is that it's going to take out all these retail sellers. So what did it do? Pushed up. Once it gets above here, then the real move happens. And this seems to happen in the market a lot. If you go back and do your research, do your back testing, you will see that a lot of people trade retail and they get taken out. Give me a second. I think the headphone, just one of them died. But yeah, what I'm looking for now is obviously for this to come into my give me a sec. Good. Yeah, just to make sure. Yeah, so obviously that's EU. I'm looking for obviously EU to drop into this sort of area here. I have certain confluences that I do use before I take the trade. So obviously it won't just be as simple as take this trade. Obviously, depending on what you guys trade, you'll be able to see what I'm looking for. Gold is another one. So what I can see from gold is I still expect gold now to drop. I still expect it to come down to obviously this 1827 area, because what we've seen in gold is a push, slight exhaustion as they would call it, push, slight pullback, another push. So for me here, there is a lot of retail buyers. So there's a lot of buyers in this market here. Stop losses are going to be below here. If anything now, stop losses are going to be at break even. For me, I wouldn't say that these have been taken out. This liquidity area here hasn't been really taken. So I would expect gold to push and obviously take out this liquidity at the bottom here where a lot of people are getting in for buys. But overall on the 4 hour, we're coming to a point of people would say support in the market where most retail traders would then draw on their what would they like, support line or support zone or resistance zone, resistance line. This is like the normal thing that people would do, and they would look for this sort of thing, wick rejections, and they would look to take sells. So for me, on the 4 hour, which is obviously the higher time frame, which is the more predictable, I would look for obviously certain confluences to tell me whether I'm going to look for a short in this, because it depends. If you get a lot of wick rejections here, I would expect it to push up more, because obviously most retail traders are looking for sells. So if there's a lot of retail traders getting into the market, then obviously the sells are going to come into play. They're going to induce them into the market. they're going to get caught out and boom, it's going to push up and it will wipe them out, which the market is designed to do. This is why only 95% of people fail, and why only 5% of people actually make it, is because the whole idea of trading is to have an edge, and the whole idea of your edge is to be profitable. But yeah, so gold for me right now is in a position where I can see that it's wicking already. So to me, I want to see maybe 2 or 3 of these, because I'm thinking like a retail trader. I'd see 2 or 3 of these and I'll look for a sell as a retail trader. Once I see that induce on a sell, then I'll then think about looking for buyers, getting in the right criteria that I want to then enter a buyer to take it long. To on the 4 hour would be in and around this candle here. So I would then look to take my buyers up to this sort of area here. And then once I get into this sort of area, I would then put my stop loss into profit, and I would play it out depending if I can manage it or not. If not, I would just take profit off the table, and if anything, take like the trade and just close it. But yeah, this is what I'm sort of looking for on gold. But whether we get that soon is not looking likely at the moment, the way this is moving. And GU, if you do know, there is similars. Give me a second. Did I? No, I haven't. Yeah, so obviously GU and gold, there are similarities between them. So obviously you see how they move. They both move in a similar way. They both act in a similar way. Here is obviously same thing as EU, as you can see here, what's happened. Same thing on GU. So basically what I'm looking for now is obviously the push, the exhaustion back. This double top area is suggesting sellers in the market, a lot of retail sellers. They're looking for obviously their support and resistance zones. So this is one of them. Quite a lot of them even look at Fibonacci retracements, which is in the Fibonacci retracement zone. So obviously that for me is telling me that there's sellers building up in this market. They're looking to go short. This candle here is showing me an inducement into the market, which I can see that retail traders are getting in. They're thinking, yep, sell, 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 sell to this low. If not, they look left even further and they look to see what they can see further along the line. If there's any lows, this low down here possibly would be a target for retail. Stop loss for retail would be, I would say, in and around this area. So I would then go from here and then I'd mark that up as retail stop loss. Okay, so that's what I'd be looking for. They'd have their stops above here because obviously this wick, and then if it comes up and takes them out, they expect it to go higher, and then obviously they'll be out of the trade. But for me, I'm going to look for the inducement, which is happening as we speak. And then what I would look for is obviously to go long, probably from around this sort of area. Take it up to here, and my stop loss would probably be just below this low here. So I'd normally look for that. That'd be my sort of ideal setup. Hey bro, any signals for us today? Need to pay rent this week, so I'm hoping to flip this 200 I have. Bro, that's not a good way to trade. That is not a good way to trade. Trying to flip to pay rent is not a good way to trade, that's for sure. So yeah, that would be what I'm looking for. Going to enter that trade, mate. Thanks. The only thing I would say is that you've got to obviously know what you're looking for before you enter. You've got to have your criteria. If you don't have your criteria, then you're not going to possibly win the trade and possibly get wiped out before you've even got into it. Let me have a look. Yeah, what I'd say, I'm not. Someone said they can't hear. Someone said they can't hear. I assume I've looked at the stream. I think everyone can hear me. Yeah, I wouldn't use that $200 or pounds or whatever it is into just trying to trade like other people's trades. I feel like you lose a lot of money if you do that. I think the best way to do it is obviously practice on a demo, use the 200 in a live account, use 0.01 lots, trade on whatever time frame suits you, whatever strategy suits you. And then I would obviously look to go funded. Once you're funded, then you can build and scale your actual personal account and use the funded money to put into your real account. Is there anything you guys are looking at this moment that you're looking to take? What sort of trades? Anyone in the chat? USDJPY, USD CAD, US 30, JPY, USD CAD buys, USD JPY. What are you looking at? USD JPY. What are you going for? Buys, sells. What are you looking at? Buyers, EURUSD buys. USD JPY, you're looking for buyers, right? So what I would say on USD JPY buys, let's go take a look at a 4 hour, see what that's given us. So obviously on the 4 hour, we've got the higher low sort of formation that's being created. Higher, ain't really a low, but you can say it's a low. Another push, another now correction in the market. On the 4 hour, we've got quite a strong push here. So if I was to think of it, depending on what I see now on the 1 hour, see on USD JPY at the moment, it's moving sideways quite a bit. On the 4 hour, it's showing obviously the push. This is like a big exhaustion, and a lot of retail traders are now looking obviously to take buys to either completely take these two highs out, this high and this high, and continue up. Whereas what I'd be looking for myself is obviously we've got this push down here, which induced a lot of people into sells, because on a lower time frame, or even if we reverted back to this here, push, exhaustion, most retail traders are selling, it would induce you into the market. Your stop loss would then be either the same or entry, and then boom, it's pushed up and wiped you out. This is the whole prime example of what I was explaining earlier. For me, right now, I don't see buys, but then I don't see sells either. I see the market either playing out to the point of coming to this low and then getting a double bottom, and then we see a lot of retails enter buys and get the inducement up and then completely wipe them out and come down to maybe this low, this sort of area here. GBPUSD. If GU breaks above resistance, then I could enter a buy. EURUSD buys. Yep, I'm looking, Samuel. Yeah, I'm looking for EURUSD buys myself. I just went over EURUSD. EURUSD is basically, we got the push, we got the exhaustion, retail sellers at a double top sort of here. This they're looking for sells. They've had an inducement now of sells. I'm looking to take a buy up to obviously where it says retail stop losses, because this is where I expect most people that are selling their stop losses to be, and I expect them to be getting wiped out. We've got Euro, USD. See, these are obviously my top 6. I don't usually tend to trade out of these. My main 3 are probably gold, GU, and EU. I don't tend to trade too many pairs because I like to back test and get a lot of USDCHF. let's have a look. I'll have a look at USDCHF. So what we're looking for, long daily, USDCHF long on a daily. Daily for me, potentially, yeah, we're looking for sort of, see, this is another thing that I do look for, patterns, is in this U pattern. You would see, if you do your back testing and you go through and understand how retail moves in the market, this sort of pattern, I'd look for a U pattern which is created, and then I'll look for the short, I'll look for the buy, obviously, once it's come down to sort of this area, because this sort of area here, once it's come down in that sort of curvature, I know that for this area, retail are getting in sells, sells, sells. Let me get the pen up, give me a sec. So what I'd see is obviously sells, 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 sells. And after all these sellers have accumulated over time, I'm going to now look for the actual market to take out these sellers. And what's the market done? After seeing these sellers, these sellers, these sellers, these sellers, boom, market's pushed up, taken these out, and now the real move will happen. So this is what you've got to see in the market. I'm already in EU sales. Guess I'm retail. EU. Yeah, I would. It depends what sort of strategy you use. Don't get me wrong. Support and resistance works. Fibonacci's work, but most people enter too early. Most people get in the market too early, and then that's what causes them to lose all the time, because they're entering too early on the support and resistance side, where, I don't know, you get a support and resistance, you've seen 2 wick rejections on the 4 hour, and you think, yes, that's a sell, let me sell. But really, what it's going to do is induce you into your, making you believe in your head that it's going to sell, because that's what you think. And then what it does is it takes you out, and then you think, shit. But really, you was right in the direction, because over time it goes in the way you wanted it to go. So you are correct, but it's about time, and it's about executing at the right time. I'll wait to see USDCHF long daily. I'd say on this daily, we could possibly drop now. We could possibly drop. But then again, we could come to these 2 highs here. We could possibly push all the way up and then see it, because we could wipe out, obviously, sellers here, because these sellers here on the daily haven't been wiped out. They haven't been taken. Because if I go to the 4 hour, yeah, see the 4 hour, I wouldn't personally get in buys right now on here. I would give it time, because at the moment, because we've got a lot of buyers in this area. Obviously, the sellers here have been taken. So as you can see, there are sellers here, sellers here. This is taken on higher than these 2, so it's taken out the sellers, and then the moves happened. So we could possibly still get a continuation down, but right now it's inducing more buyers and making more buyers believe buy, 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 because of these wick rejections, this sort of area level in the market here. What is your reasoning for entering EU buyers? So obviously I wouldn't personally be looking for longs at the moment. I'll be waiting to see if this candle here retraces its 50% and then continues down, because I feel like that's what's going to happen. What is your reason for entering EU buyers? EU, let's go over EU. So if we come to the 4 hour on EU, we've got, what do we see? We've got this big push, this correction in the market on the 4 hour. We've got this push now, and we're looking for another correction, right? We've got all these wick rejections. We've got 1, 2. This is the 3rd 4 hour candle we've got of people wick rejections, people selling, people buying. What I see then when I go onto the 1 hour is I see what most retail traders do. They trade on the 1 hour time frame. So the 1 hour time frame is mainly what retail traders use. So what I look for is, look, the push, the exhaustion, whatever you want to call it, correction. There's a double top in here where this wick is wicked up into these wicks here. So we've got this double top formation. Most retail obviously sell, pushed up, selling. What I look for then is where retail stop losses would be. So I normally play it out. So I normally would go and get this, draw out my levels of a retail trader, as you would call them. I would then look for what sort of position they're going for. So say they're in the market, I don't know, around this sort of level here. Their stop losses would be anywhere above these wicks here. So 16 pips is not a bad stop loss, really. They would look for either targeting this low, the next low, or even lower, right? So that's what I would see. So for me then, I would go, okay, that's what I think retail are going to do. So if retail are going to do that, what am I going to do? I'm going to do the opposite of what retail are going to do. Because if you think like a retail trader and you trade against them, if you go and do your back testing and trade the opposite way without any sort of strategy, you will see a lot of times you will win. Like I've done back testing over the years, and you realize through back testing against what most retail traders will do, you seem to win a lot more than you if you was trading like a retail trader. So that's what made me dive deep into finding a strategy that trades against, but also trades with retail at the same time. Because once the actual retail traders have now been taken up to this line here, I'm going to look for the real sell move, because markets do go in phases of push, exhaustion, continuation. They do sort of go in that sort of motion. So I will look for that. But right now, I can see that retail traders are inducing them. So what I'll do is I'll set my sell limit in and around this area, and I'll look for buyers up to their stop losses to be taken out. That's my reasoning for EU. Because right now, if I was to enter where I put it, I would already be in profit. Obviously, because I'm on this live stream, I haven't actually entered this. But I have got a funded account with E8 that I do trade with. Same thing with GU as well. I'm looking at the same sort of thing. EU, GU, same sort of reasoning. We do have news coming out as well a bit later that I see. What does everyone do then? Does everyone trade for themselves? Do they follow signals? Do you have funded accounts? Do I work with prop firms? No, I don't work with prop firms. I just use prop firms because they're there and use them to your advantage. To be fair, US30 is quite a good one, but I've actually never traded US30. I know that it moves it like very quickly, but I've never actually traded it. Want to get funded account working on discipline. I'll tell you, discipline, mindset, it's crazy to believe that 90% of the time it's just your mind. That's all it is. You're going against your emotions and your mind. And a lot of it is doubt. If you doubt yourself with the trades that you think you can take, because at the end of the day, you've got to just enter no matter what. So even if you believe that there's going to be a buy, go for the buy, because if that's what your strategy is telling you and that's what your overall market direction is, you've got to enter it. Because a lot of people sit back, don't enter, watch the market play out, and then think to themselves, shit, I could have got in there. Why did I not do that? When you've just got to take the risk and go for it, and eventually the emotions, you'll get over the emotions and you'll be able to control emotions a lot better. And understanding losing money, I think that's another thing that comes with getting a funded account. When you get a funded account and you lose 60, 70, 8K in one trade, then you understand the psychological effects it has on you, but then you get used to the emotions of losing that money, because that money seems like a lot when you're first trading, but once you understand and see the money, you sort of build the resilience to the money and how big of amount you're losing. Short in EU. I was looking for longs on EU, and currently, if we'd have taken EU, we're already in profit, and we're looking for the push up to where retail stop losses are. They're the sort of entries I'd be looking for. I would then, obviously, from the 1 hour, look at the 15-minute, look for certain confluences in and around this area to take this trade up. I would never just jump into a trade for no reason, but right now we're seeing what I expected. Because over the New York session, I do see it pushing up and potentially taking out retail, and then maybe tomorrow New York will see the real move happen. Oh wait, no, tomorrow's Saturday, so Monday we'll probably see the real move happen. I tend to trade on Fridays up to 3 o'clock, and after 3 o'clock I don't usually place any more trades, because I don't know, the market's coming to a close. It slows down. Most people that work for the big corporations, they usually finish around 3 o'clock, so the market's very slow. If anyone's looking to get funded, I would say it's the best thing to do. Get funded, build your personal account, and I think work on your edge. That's the biggest thing, I think, is working on your edge, back testing, spending time on the charts, forward testing, back testing, everything. Spending a lot of time on the charts is probably the best thing, but not spending time trying to trade, spending time looking at the charts, understanding, getting your edge. If you've got any questions, put them in the chat. If you've got any, I don't know, questions you don't want to put in the chat, feel free to DM me on Instagram at Connor Skeet. I don't do any sort of group or anything like that. I did do this before, but I feel like it doesn't help anyone. I feel like you can have people around you that actually trade, but then following other people don't really do anything for yourself and benefit your trading. Do these prop firms really pay out? Yeah, they do. The best thing that I think a lot of builds your confidence is when you get your first payout. So you get phase 1, you get phase 2, you pass both of them. 90% of people then ended up losing the account within the first 30 days because they think, oh, I'm funded now, I can make this amount. But no, what you've got to realize is in the first 30 days, risk 0.5% instead of 1%, and play it safe and try and earn the money back you paid for the funded account. Withdraw that. Then you can trade how you'd normally trade because you've got your money back. So you're never down. Your bank account is never lower than what you started with. And the day you get your first payout is the day you realize that it all is how it seems, because a lot of people don't believe. Let's have a little look at gold at the moment. What's going on with gold? Smart thinking. It's all psychological. Trading is so psychological. See, GJ, I think this was probably about 2 days ago. I had this on. I was looking for obviously the push back up, but after seeing this, I think it was around this area here. Once I see this, I was looking for the push back up to obviously this sort of area. But after seeing this push down, 15-minute time frame didn't really give me what I was looking for to continue up. And what did it do? It carried on moving sideways, but I still think that people are going to get in. Yep, I would say build your personal once you get funded. Use the funding money to build your personal. I would only ever risk 1%. I would never risk no more than 1%, no matter what trade I'm taking, no matter how much money's in my account. I would only ever risk 1%. And 10%, 10% is a good return, but it depends what sort of account size, because you could get 10% on a 25k account and 10% on a 100k account, and you could get 2 grand on the 25k but 10 grand on the 100k, if that makes sense. That's not the correct numbers, but obviously I'm giving you an example. Like, that's what you could look for. So 10% is a good amount, but just remember, you could lose trades for a week but be up in the month, or you could lose trades for 2 days but be up for the week. So losing's not a bad thing. Yep. Yeah, so obviously what I see as well is most people that get funded, they end up losing the account, blowing it within the first 30 days. And then they end up thinking, oh, I've got to go back to try and get funded again, do another 60 days funding. It depends what funded company you go with, because some people only require 1 day trading and you can pass within the first 48 hours. But obviously it's very slim chance of you passing within 48 hours. And losing is not a bad thing. People seem to see losing as a bad thing. Look at this. So this was gold yesterday, right? So obviously here I took a trade up against retail again. Retail was selling here, took it up. This again from here was looking to short it, and I shorted it, and it worked out. But look at this. So obviously I've pushed up now, shorted it again, obviously going against retail. And then I thought, cool, gold's going to come even lower down to this retail stop loss area because they're looking for buyers along the area. What happens? It reverts completely on me. If you have a look on the 15-minute, this is the sort of trade I was looking at. And what happened? I entered on this candle. I then waited, set my alerts down this sort of area here, because when it breaks these lows, that's when I normally get in and either take some off the table or move stop loss to entry. And when I came back, boom, I was taken out. And I think I was taken out for about 550. But it happens. At the end of the day, you're never going to win consistently. It's about building your edge. My risk to reward is always 1 to 3 normally. And my win ratio is between 70 and 80% at the moment. But it's not always like that. Some months, some years, it will differ. It will go to 60, 55, 60. But you could be 30% profitable and still make money. You could be 30% win rate and still make money. How many hours do you put in a day to master FX? It's about backtesting. I'm telling you, it's the best thing is backtesting and defining your edge over the market, understanding what you actually look for and getting your edge over the market. Your edge is the most important thing, because you're trying to beat all these people in the market. (0.5% with 1% daily loss walkaway limit). At 0.5% with a 1% daily loss walkaway limit, that's what you normally have on a funded account. Is you normally have about 15 to 20% drawdown you're allowed before they obviously take you out. 0.5% to 1% daily loss. I'd say, what's best prop firm? Personally, for me, I've gone with E8 funding, because E8 allow you to get funded within obviously 48 hours. Like, you can literally, it's probably less than that. You could literally today go on there, pay for the account, trade, make the money they want you to trade, get phase 2, go on phase 2, place one trade, pass, and you'll pass because they only require you to have 1 day trade in. So you can still make money. I normally add on lots, but only when I think it's right. You view on the chart. Thank you, Ariane. I personally think gold is probably the best currency to trade on the market. It's high liquidity, it's fast pace. It keeps you on your toes. It keeps you like you've got an edge over the market. You're on the ball 24/7 with gold, and I think it's a money maker as well as it humbles you really quickly. Like gold is one of the ones when I first started of blowing accounts. E8 funding I'm with. I'll put it in the chat now. It's in the chat, E8 funding. Yeah, gold is probably the best one to trade. If you can backtest gold and learn gold to a T, you get entries that people think, car, like how have you managed to get that entry every single time? Looking for gold shorts. Let me have a look at gold. Looking for gold shorts. See, this for me is obviously the way of thinking that you're thinking of. Is it Simon? Yeah, Simon, looking for gold shorts. The way you're thinking, again, for me, is obviously how retail people think. So what you're thinking is you've seen, obviously, this is my perspective. It might not be your strategy, but this is what I gather, is you're seeing these wick rejections. You're seeing now, obviously, an inducement here of this candle, and you're looking to go short. But what I tend to look for is what retail are looking for. You've probably seen this here as well on the 4 hour, which is giving you the indication to go short. But I see a big imbalance in this sort of area. I see the fact retail traders are in here, in here, in here. They've been taken. These retail traders on this wick here most likely have been taken. Maybe not. Their stop losses might be here. So this is what I look for. I see what most retail will be doing is they'll be entering like this. Let me have a look. So this would be most retail stop losses around this area. This will be retail's target, either here, this low here, or even coming down to this low right down here, right? So this is what sort of people are going to be targeting, right? So if they're targeting that sort of area and the market gets you in and you're in now and you're thinking, yeah, I'm in profit. For me, my perspective is this is what they want. This is what they want you to do. They want you to enter sales here. They want you to get in the market, because once you're in the market, you're induced. You've entered, you're thinking you're in profit. It always goes your way into profit, and then boom, it spikes up and you get knocked out. It's because the big banks want this. This is what they're looking for. They're looking for people like retail traders to get in, small minority, get in the market, potentially make some money, potentially not, and knock them out, but then still go their way. So don't get me wrong, your sense of direction is probably correct, because you're expecting it to go like this here and drop, right? That's your sort of sense of direction. Whereas the big bank sense of direction is they're looking for use lot to get in, then they're going to take it up to here, then they're going to move it down here. So then, in a way, your direction's correct, but your entering is too early. And I think that's where a lot of retail traders seem to fuck up, is they get in way too early. Gold loves to run higher than it sells, vice versa for buyers. Yep. Gold is a tricky one to learn, but also I think it teaches you a lot about the markets and how the markets work. So for me, I wouldn't get in on sales here. I'd be looking for buyers around this area to take it up to here, because most retail traders are looking for sales. So then what I would do is I'd come onto the 1 hour. I would look for certain confluences to tell me that retail are already in, which on the 4 hour is showing retail are already looking for sales, already getting in. This candle here is also showing me the same thing. They're looking around to the left and seeing all these wicks, seeing this and thinking, yep, I'm going to go for it. So I would look for certain criteria, come down to the 15-minute, see that certain criteria, and then I would obviously look for buys up and would see buyers go into sort of 1857, 1856 area up here. And then I would see the real move. But obviously, don't get me wrong, that might not happen. But this is obviously just my view on how the market works and how people trade retail versus banks versus all these big corporations and companies that actually trade. Let's have another look at EU. What's going on here then? So EU's pushing up nicely now. We've got a nice little push up. We got entered right on the wick if we did get in, but obviously because I'm actually trading live for you guys, I haven't actually entered on my actual account, but I was actually looking for this to happen because I knew what retail are actually looking for. So if someone did take this trade, I know someone in the chat said they are putting EU buys. Let me know if you're actually in EU buys or not. Because right now this is running beautifully. This is exactly what I'll be looking for. I'm going into EU buys if it pushes above resistance. For me, obviously now, if I was to enter, I would personally, I wouldn't enter now. I would say it's too late in a way because of my risk to reward. I wouldn't actually get it, and I would risk more than I'm willing to risk because I could risk a one-to-one sort of thing if I was to enter now. So I wouldn't. ICT concepts. I don't normally trade any ICT concepts, to be honest. I've over the years basically just backtested a lot with gold and EU and GU, and I understand sort of how they move and what sort of, I don't know. The best thing for me, I could say, is to learn how they move and understand tiny bits. Like, I don't know, go and backtest every single time gold does a push or EU does a push and it exhausts. Watch how the exhaustion happens and screenshot it and put it on a like at the top here. You can see I've got a journal and performance analyzer, right? Go on to something like Excel, take a screenshot or even take the trading view like tab thing up the top here, copy and paste it into there. You've got it saved. And then play it forward and then screenshot that and then go on to another part of gold or EU and do the exact same thing. Wait for a push, look at exhaustion and monitor the details on the 1 hour, the 4 hour, the 15-minute and go and look. And I'm telling you, you will find things that you've seen that you think, oh my God, every single time that happens, every time there's a push and exhaustion, that happens. It wipes out retail. The big banks get in around this area. You'll see wick rejections. You'll see certain candle movements and you'll see patterns and you'll build a pattern system where you can understand that the market moves in phases and you can see that when it does this, I know 80% of the time I backtested, it's done this. So I know it's going to do this. And that's what you look for. EU buys if it push above resistance. You monitor DXY? No, I don't trade DXY. I don't really trade anything apart from my top 6 normally. But obviously I've added in USDCHF for someone to have a look, but I get rid of that. Yeah, I normally only trade these, which is GJ, UJ, Gold, GU, EU, and Euro Great British Pounds. Go to backtest on the way you see the market seems promising plus psychological. It's relevant to US strength though. Yeah, I feel like backtesting is probably the best thing to do and for testing as well. How can you not look at DXY when trading USD? Something I learned as well is you don't actually have to look at DXY, the strength in it. If I'm honest, I don't really check news. I check news because I know when certain big news events are coming, but I don't check news every single day because for me, if you go and backtest, you'll understand the way the market moves, regardless of whether you think DXY or this or that. I don't tend to look at any of that because, I don't know, the DXY has a correlation, but when you're trading, the patterns you see, they tend to happen over and over and over again, regardless of news, regardless of anything else. It happens. And this is what a lot of people don't take into consideration. They check news every single day, which is medium impact, but it doesn't actually affect the market as much as they assume it's going to affect the market. So I feel like patterns and the way the banks trade is obviously, yeah, I'm not talking about news. Yeah, DXY, I don't correlate it to anything. I don't look at it. I've never looked at DXY and I've not ever had problems with trading. Your pairs again, please. So GJ, which I have here, UJ, gold, GU, EU, and Euro Great British Pound. It's not news that is the actual strength of the USD. News is only important to know when to expect high volume of volatility. Yeah, I only ever look at news if I know that it's a big day like NFP or something. I don't really check news every single day. I feel like forward testing as well is quite good for anyone that wants to forward test in live in the markets. Get yourself in, put in £200 into an account and just trialing it. If you can risk to lose that, lose it, because at the end of the day you will lose it. You're not always going to win, but you could get lucky and keep the account. But 90% of traders fail in the first 90 days. So anyone that did go on, get into EU, it is pushing over New York session, which obviously don't finish till I think it's 5 o'clock this evening on GMT time, wherever you guys are in the world, whatever time of day it is. Does anyone in here trade Asian session? Yeah, but not FX. If you trade Asian session, right, or anyone that can trade Asian session, which I scalp USDJPY on a 3-minute time frame during Asian, I would recommend on Asian session, go and back test gold on Asian session and see, like, you'll see what happens with gold every single time. Good way to forward test also as a demo and have your give you yeah, what someone just put in the chat and he deleted it. Yeah, as I was saying, go and backtest gold during Asian session and you will see, how can I put it? Let me tell you, it's something that you would not expect. So if you go to gold and trade and backtest during Asian session, you'll see a lot of push in Asian session that you don't normally see, because most people think, oh, USD only ever goes during New York session. But if you actually go and backtest gold during Asian session, you'll see something that you wouldn't expect. Because I trade a lot during the night from 12 midnight in, obviously London I'm in. I normally trade through 12, 1, 2 in the morning, because I don't know, I seem to get focused, and gold I seem to move quite well during the night, and I seem to catch quite decent trades. So EURUSD now is pushing, and we're looking likely to move my stop loss up once. If this breaks this high here and gets up to here, then I will look for gold pushes on Asian session, because Aussie is the largest producer of gold. Yep. Yeah, if this EURUSD now pushes up above this high here, I will be looking to move my stop loss even shorter than what it is. So I'll take it to maybe this low here. And then when it pushes up into this region here, then it would be an entry, because I'm more than 50% of where I'm looking to go. But if you was on a 1.0 lot size or even a 3.0 lot size, right now you'd probably be in about £200 profit. And if I'm honest, if you can do £200 a day profit, you can't really complain. I just think a lot of people sometimes don't know when to take money off the table or when to move their stop loss to entry. But just know that once it gets to a 50% of where you're heading, I would normally take stop loss to entry and take off 50% once it gets to 70%. So 50% stop loss to entry, 70% I take money off the table, because I'd rather secure it. So if it does head back to my entry point and I get wiped out, I've got 50%, 70% profit than what I would have had. So I always leave some running, because sometimes it doesn't actually hit where I want it to go. It goes even higher. So this is where a lot of traders foul as well. They take their profits too early and it runs, and then the emotions inside them think, oh man, if I'd have left it, if I'd have just left it. And then they leave the next one. But what they don't do is move stop loss to entry, and they can't manage it. And then when it comes back round, it ends up going back into their stop loss and knocking them out. And they're like, oh, like if I could have managed it. So it's all about time management and managing the trade. Like I can sit here and watch this now and see how it moves and understand when I'm going to move my stop loss to entry, when I'm going to take 50% off, when I'm going to look to now leave it running and I can walk away. So that's what a lot of it is time managing and being able to manage your trades. Let's see what Euro Great British Pound is doing. See, this yesterday I took a loss, because if you guys weren't here from the start, I was explaining we've had this push up. We've got this U formation that seems to happen every single time with retail people that are in the market. Sellers here. But guess what? These sellers got wiped out. Then what retail looking for? Push, exhaustion to push up. So what are these? Big buys, wicks. So for me, there is a lot of retail sellers in here. But at the same time, what are the 90% of retail sellers looking at? The push, the exhaustion, the continuation up. So for me, the continuation up will come, but not before they take out all these retail traders here looking for buys. And this big candle here is an imbalance in the market. So this imbalance in the market tends to be filled. So I went for sells. But what happened with me is I sold here on this candle here. It pushed up. And then it was moving sideways. And it got to around this area here. And I couldn't manage it any longer because I had things to do. So what I did do then is I decided to either I was going to leave it running or I was just going to close. And because it wasn't that far into negative, I thought I'll just close it because I can't manage it and I'd rather take the small loss than me going to hitting stop loss. But then overnight, woke up this morning and we've seen the drop and now we're getting another big push down into this sort of area here. What we got going on? What sort of strategies, I can't even say strategies. What sort of strategies does everyone trade? I know some people in here are scalping on 3 minute, he was saying, during Asian session. I know people were saying before that they use supply and demand. let me tell you, every strategy does work, but it's finding your edge in the market and understanding when to enter and when not to enter. Because a lot of people fail because they enter too early or they enter too late. Low impact CAD we've got. See, obviously I get these notifications come up as well, so I know what's coming. Supply and demand, yeah. So let me go back a sec and show you a few different things that I look at the same time. So obviously the same thing with here, this move that I expected to happen. So obviously on this one, I was looking for buyers up from this high here. So we had this big wick. Most sellers are in the market in this sort of area. They've been induced with this big massive candle. And what's happened? Buyers all the way back up, which I could have expected from down here. But then it got to this point here and I see more sellers in the market, and I expected what to happen now is for a push up and then the real move to happen, which it did. So obviously I got in around this, I think it was this candle here, this sell candle. I got in at halfway on this because I was looking for a 50% retracement on this candle here, this bullish candle. So obviously I took a 50% retracement here and I looked for buyers up to here. Okay, it's a small trade, but with a big lot size and obviously using risk management and using my funded account, it was a good win. And I did leave it to run, and obviously it did come back and take me in for out entry, but obviously I already took 70% off the table, so I was happy with what I took. And then what happened? The big move came, and most retail traders thought, oh my god, it went my way, but I got taken out before it went my way. So I was still correct in the direction, which most of the time you are. That's moving nicely. Great British Pound is moving quite nicely as well. I can take this off now as well. Let me delete that. So to be fair, in this session, we've done quite well with this trade here. We are pushing up nicely. I would say that this is probably the only trade I would be looking for. And look, same again. I did say this as well. EU, GU, and gold. But look at GU go now. This is where I tend to look for my entries. And I did put this on at the start of the live stream if you do want to go back and have a look. I explained, obviously, why I would be looking for buyers in this sort of area. What sort of pattern I normally look for, which comes in this sort of form. And it would come back up to this sort of area before actually getting the proper move that we're looking for. And if you did take this trade as well at the start, if you was looking... Obviously, I know a lot of people wouldn't have taken these trades because I can see that obviously when you watch everyone's live streams, everyone tells you the same thing. This trade is I'm looking for, this trade I'm looking for. And I guarantee 90% of the time you've taken the trades and not actually profited off of them. So obviously I understand when people don't take advice. But obviously I wouldn't say copy other people either, because when you copy other people, it ends up leading you down a route of you're never going to be able to trade for yourself, and you're never going to be able to say, oh, I did that for myself. So I would say don't take anyone's signals, don't take anyone's signals, don't take anyone's course. I would say focus on research, back testing, YouTube videos, everything you can, and I promise you everything you need is on Google. These £2,000 courses, not worth it. This £1,000 course, not worth it. Everything's on Google. Anything you need, Google. Right, guys, I think I'm going to leave it there on this live session. We've seen a nice push up from GU. a nice push up from EU. We got a nice entry if anyone did enter. Gold, I'm not quite ready to see where the entry that I want right now, especially with this candle here. Not quite looking for an entry yet to buy up to this sort of area. But anyone that obviously wants to follow me on Instagram, do I use indicators? Nope, I don't use any indicators. I use purely price action, no indicators. Good stuff, Connor. Thank you, Graham. If anyone wants to follow me on Instagram, it is literally at Connor Skeet. I do post snippets of things, so you never know. You might get something on the story that's a before, and you might even be able to get in. So if you do want to take a look, go over there. But yeah, for now, you can see that this EURUSD looks quite strong. It looks like it is going to push up more. And GBPUSD is pushing up nicely. Not even volume. No, I don't use any indicators. I don't. Indicators are not really... how can I put it? Indicators are normally delayed. They're not normally like live, perfect, what you need. You get what I mean? Nothing in Forex is obviously perfect, but you understand, like, I don't use indicators because I feel like they're lagging indicators. They're falling behind what you're actually seeing live happening in the market. So they can't predict what's going to happen. So they can give you an edge. Not saying they can't give you an edge, but they can give you an edge. But it's whether they form within your strategy. How do you determine your point of interest? My point of interest would be retail stop losses. So I take a look of where most retail people are going to be putting their stop losses, where they're going to be looking to short from. So me personally, most people are going to be looking to short from this sort of area. Their stop losses are going to be anywhere above this high to my left, or even this high up here, because if the market does push up one more time a week, they expect it to fall and they don't want to get taken out. So they put their stop losses up here. So that's sort of where I usually aim for, is where retail would put their stop losses. Let's have a look. See, right now, because of obviously the way this is moving, I would personally bring stop loss mainly to entry at this point, because it's not 50% of where I'm heading, but to be fair, it's probably about 50% if I was to move this to here. Yeah, so this is roughly around 50% really. So I would now move my stop loss to entry. And obviously I would let the rest play out. But I am aiming for obviously where it says retail stop losses, but it could go higher. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this and want any snippets, or I don't know, any personal questions you want to ask me, just head over to my there. But yeah, that's me done, guys. Hope you enjoy your weekend and get ready to trade on Monday.